Hey guys, Tony here from TonyTechBytes, and this is the iPhone XS. I've had it for a little bit over a month now, and here are my thoughts about the phone. So I just wanted to start off this review by saying that this phone is an extra small upgrade from the iPhone X. It's not really worth an upgrade over the previous generation. There are a couple upgrades, but they aren't noteworthy, so I feel like the iPhone XS is actually pretty overpriced. But let's just forget about that for a little bit, and let's start off this review. So the build quality of the iPhone XS is superb like last year. The back of the phone is made of glass and the sides of the phone are made of stainless steel, and the stainless steel alloy is made specifically by Apple for the iPhone lineup, and it looks really cool since it's reflective and it matches all colors of the iPhone XS. You can also check out a comparison of all colors of the iPhone XS that I made right up here in a card. Right there. You can go check out that video after watching this one. The glass on the back does attract fingerprints extremely easily, but that's the price you pay for glass phones. In addition, you can also use wireless charging since this phone does support Qi wireless charging. And I also made a review of a mouse pad which also has wireless charging for the iPhone XS right up here in a card right there. The display of the iPhone XS is honestly a joy to use. While there is a notch, I don't really notice it, and especially after a month of usage, I'm not really bothered by the notch at all. With the 5.8-inch Super Retina OLED display and a resolution of 2438 by 1125 and a pixel density of 458 pixels per inch, colors are great and sharpness is as well. True blacks, great pixel density, amazing sharpness, brightness, and contrast make this display a truly amazing experience. I honestly don't even notice the notch anymore, like what I said before, after using it for a month, since you do really get used to it and it becomes a part of the experience with the iPhone X and XS. As for the camera, the main camera is a bit wider than last year's iPhone X with a sapphire crystal lens cover. It has an f1.8 aperture, a 32% larger sensor, the same 12 megapixel sensor with each megapixel able to absorb more light, and this will allow slightly more of a shallower depth of field as well as better noise performance in low light. Dynamic range is improved with highlights and shadows being able to retain more details. Sharpness is very good, but it's not as good as the Pixel lineup of phones like the Pixel 2 and Pixel 3. Colors look natural and not oversaturated, but it does have a hint of oversaturation in some cases. Video performance is great with amazing optical image stabilization and 4K 60 frames per second video recording. I have used the optical image stabilization in many instances, and it's really effective with photos as well as videos. My camera that I'm using to record this video right now, the Panasonic Lumix G85, has in-body image stabilization in the camera, and this basically allows the sensor to move around and stabilize the footage when you're recording handheld. This is great for vloggers and people that just record video handheld, since it'll stabilize the footage and make it less shaky. Portrait mode is fine, but artificial blurring is not perfect, and I find that in some cases it blurs the ears out or just some article of clothing. Portrait mode works with the image signal processor and the neural engine to artificially create an adjustable blur effect. Portrait mode is also available on the front selfie camera, which is a great addition to the iPhone XS, but it's pretty soft and unusable in a lot of cases. Unless you like that look, I don't really like the soft pictures with the portrait mode on the front camera of the iPhone XS. The tele lens is an f2.4 aperture lens, and it's the lens portrait mode uses. In low light, the smaller aperture lets in less light and there's a lot more noise in the shots. The front facing camera has an 8 megapixel f2.2 lens, and it's like what I said before, capable of taking portrait mode pictures. Video is also available up to 1080p at 60 frames per second, and the front and rear cameras are AR compatible, and the Measure app by Apple is actually really intuitive and accurate for the most part. I use the Measure app on the iPhone XS for many applications, such as measuring things that I just have around me, like my notebook or a pencil, or just anything that I have to use a ruler for, but I can just use my phone with. And that's really convenient since you basically have a tool in your hands that is able to take pictures, take videos, function as a calculator, function as a computer, as well as be able to function as a ruler. And that's really cool since this phone is not even as big as a 12-inch ruler. Face ID is pretty fast and snappy even under non-ideal situations like low light. It isn't as fast as Touch ID, but I feel like it's more convenient at times when your fingers are wet or dirty, and this definitely helped me before when I didn't want to touch my phone, like if I had a Touch ID sensor, but I could just turn on the power button and then put my face on it and just unlock the phone. I've tried Face ID with glasses on while brushing my teeth, as well as with my hood on, and even with a combination of all of these, and it's unlocked my phone in almost every single case. It's incredibly convenient for logging into apps by just using your face, as well as verifying purchases on your phone, like when you want to buy apps or when you want to use Apple Pay. I find this really convenient since almost all my apps that use a security feature use Face ID, and it's really convenient. When I want to check my grades, I can just log into the app by using my face. When I want to check my balance on my bank accounts, I can just use my face to log in, and I find that extremely useful, and it's such a great feature on the iPhone X and XS. Face ID uses the flood illuminator infrared camera as well as a dot projector to accurately and securely scan your face, and this is a really complicated process that Apple has somehow simplified since they have a bunch of sensors on the front of the iPhone XS. Performance of this phone is incredibly snappy. The A12 Bionic chip has 6 cores, with 2 being high power cores which are 15% faster than the last generation for the CPU. The other 4 cores are efficiency cores that are 50% faster than last year's A11. The GPU has 4 cores and is 50% faster than the last year's model, so games like Fortnite and PUBG will run a lot smoother. There's also a 4GB of RAM, but that doesn't really matter that much since iOS is extremely optimized and RAM isn't that important on iOS devices. The image signal processor and neural engine are built in, and this basically allows for better photo performance as well as improved machine learning. Performance day to day is fast, and I usually have multiple apps open without any issue. Battery life is pretty good. I usually start out with 100% at the start of the day, and I end up with about 20% at the end of the day, and that's basically 5.5 hours of screen on time, and that's actually pretty good for a phone of this size. Charging is incredibly slow with the included battery adapter, and I really wish they included a bigger battery adapter like the fast charging ones, or even the one that the iPad comes with, since those chargers charge the iPhone a lot faster. There's also no dongle included in the box, and the headphone jack is absent as was last year. The bottom of the phone has an extra antenna band, which is a cool fact to know, and this makes the speaker cutout asymmetrical, but it's a really minor thing. I just wanted to point that out since it was unique. The speakers sound pretty good and they get pretty loud as well. The iPhone XS uses the front earpiece as well as the bottom speakers to create a stereo audio experience, and it does sound pretty good. Overall, the iPhone XS is an amazing phone, but it's not really worth upgrading from the iPhone X or 8. The camera got a pretty big upgrade. The A12 Bionic chip is fast and snappy. The phone itself is quite fast, but it's nothing an iOS 12 update can't replicate, or at least somewhat replicate. The upgrades are really incremental considering this is just an S upgrade, not just a full-blown upgrade. So I'd say if you had a 2017 iPhone, don't upgrade and don't even bother upgrading. But if you do have a phone older than that or an Android phone that you'd really love to upgrade, then the iPhone XS is a great purchase. The iPhone XR is in some cases a better purchase than the iPhone XS because it has a much bigger variety of vibrant colors as well as one camera, but it's the same as the main camera of the XS, a bigger screen, similar internal components, and a cheaper price. So basically it's just a slightly stripped down iPhone XS with additional features, but at a cheaper price, so I'd say that the iPhone XR is a pretty good purchase. The only downside to the iPhone XR is that the screen is slightly lower in resolution, which is not too bad, but you will notice it if you have used a phone with a higher resolution like the iPhone XS, the Galaxy S9, or the Note 9, or any phone that has a high resolution screen. So thank you guys so much for watching this long review. I hope you guys enjoyed this review of the iPhone XS after using it for a little bit over a month. And I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe and leave a like, since it supports my channel and it seriously motivates me to make more videos for this channel, since making a video usually takes about 8 hours and it takes a lot of motivation to make a lot of videos. Especially on a consistent basis, which I'm trying to upload once a week. So I'd really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. As well as be able to use, as well as, I don't know what I'm saying anymore.